I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update from Monday, July the 20th, 2015. The United Nations Security Council unanimously adopted a resolution today endorsing the Iranian nuclear deal. The vote of 15-0 follows the approval earlier today of the European Union of the deal. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called the Security Council vote one of hypocrisy, saying that Iran, quote, systematically violates UN resolution and calls for the destruction of Israel, a member of the UN. U.S. Secretary of Defense Ash Carter arrived in Israel today. Carter met with his Israeli counterpart, Defense Minister Moshe Ya'alon, and is set to meet with Prime Minister Netanyahu tomorrow. Israel is Carter's first stop in the region. He'll also be heading to Jordan and Saudi Arabia. The visit is intended to reassure U.S. allies of ongoing military support and commitment to security in the wake of the Iran deal, which Israel strongly opposes. Ahead of the meeting with Ya'alon, Carter said the two countries would, quote, work together to maintain our safety and security in this troubled region, calling Israel the, quote, bedrock of American strategy in the Middle East. At a joint press conference, Ya'alon noted the strong disagreement between Israel and the U.S. regarding the Iran deal, saying, though, that despite that, the issue is discussed in a fully open manner. Ya'alon called Carter a true friend of Israel and said there is no greater friend of the state of Israel than the United States of America, who provides us our strategic backbone. And this Wednesday, July the 22nd, Americans for a Safe Israel will lead a demonstration against the Iranian deal. The Stop Iran Now rally will take place in Times Square in New York City. Speakers will include former director of the CIA, James Woolsey, and Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz, among many others. JBS will be at the event and bring you live coverage beginning at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Israeli security forces arrested several members of a Hamas terrorist cell on suspicion of being involved in a shooting attack last month on a vehicle in the West Bank that claimed the life of 25-year-old Malachi Rosenfeld, as well as other recent shootings. The terrorist, believed to be the mastermind of these attacks, was named by security forces as Ahmed Najjar, who was released in 2011 as part of the Gilad Shalit prisoner exchange. After being released, Najjar was sent to Gaza, and from there, the Shin Bet, Israel's security agency, said he moved to Jordan, from where he orchestrated the terror attacks and where he currently remains at large. An appeal has been filed in the case of former SS Sergeant Oscar Groening, known as the bookkeeper of Auschwitz. Groening, if you recall, was convicted last week of 300,000 counts of accessory to murder for the role he played at the death camp and sentenced to 4 years in prison. His lawyers argued today that his sentence should be reduced because of the amount of time it took to bring him to trial, saying that his case was known about for decades. Groening remains free until all appeals are heard. The New Jersey Jewish News reported that the state doubled its budget for Holocaust survivors. New Jersey's Jewish Family Service agencies will receive $400,000 in the new fiscal year as part of a grants in aid allocation, bringing the three-year total to $1 million of state funding for services like home care and meals. President of the New Jersey State Association of Jewish Federations, Mark Levinson, expressed his gratitude to Governor Chris Christie for the bipartisan recognition. Levinson said the concerns of Holocaust survivors are unique because of what they have been through and because their vulnerabilities at this age are increasing and are real. Israeli Business Daily Calculist reports that Microsoft is set to buy Israeli cloud security company Adalom. The acquisition by the American software giant would be its 10th in Israel. The purchase price of the Israeli startup is said to be around $320 million. If that is in fact the case, it would be the most Microsoft has paid for an Israeli startup. Adalom's product helps protect data and prevent misuse. And Israeli Business Daily Globes reports that Facebook is set to purchase another Israeli startup company, Pebbles Interfaces, which has developed virtual reality technology for operating a computer through hand and finger gestures. That acquisition is reported to be at $60 million. And turning now to our programming for tonight, Monday, July the 20th. At 7:30, New York State Controller Thomas DiNapoli speaks with Rabbi Joseph Potasnik on Faith to Faith. At 8 o'clock, a panel discussion on training tomorrow's rabbis with Rabbi Joshua Davidson, Rabbi David Ellenson, Rabbi Joy Levitt, Dr. Aaron Lieb-Smolker, and Rabbi Chaim Herring from New York's Temple Emmanuel Skirball Center in partnership with the Jewish Week. Then on the Chaim at 9 o'clock, Mark Golub sits down with candidate for president of Peru, Julio Guzman, who talks about his political focus on civil rights and about his Jewish wife and raising their daughter as a Jew, as well as his commitment to the State of Israel. At 10 o'clock, a discussion with 4 leading American female rabbis, Orthodox Rabbi Sarah Hurwitz of Yeshivat Maharat, Conservative Rabbi Diane Kohler-Esses, Reform Rabbi Angela Buchdahl of Central Synagogue, New York, and Reform Rabbi Diana Gerson of the New York Board of Rabbis. And coming up right after this newscast tonight, the diplomatic correspondent of the Times of Israel, Raphael Aaron, explains why he agrees with those in Israel who disapprove of the Iran nuclear deal on In the News with Mark Golub. And that's the JBS News Update for Monday, July the 20th, 2015. I'm Teisha Bader.